everybody, and welcome to CLX Foundry Live. I'm your host, DJ Blue PDX, and joining me live right now from our Wichita studios that is now less under a snow attack. It is our lead technical expert, Paul Steffens, and our master builder. It is none other than Zach Killingsworth. Gentlemen, so we didn't quite... Wow, are you tilted? I don't know. It didn't quite happen last week because you guys were under what kind of weather?
Terrible icy weather.
Negatives.
Negative degrees. Today, I have shorts on.
Talk about the negative degrees, though, because this is terrifying.
Yeah.
How cold was it?
I mean, it got -5, maybe even a little bit less than that.
Yeah, I got -5, and then that wasn't even like what the feels like was. We had lots of like 30-mile-an-hour winds plus. So
It was cold
Good
and
Lord.
snowy. And not
Wow.
fun.
Well, I'll tell you.
first living in a farm field.
Now, see my knees.
I need some.
Ironically, I'm wearing
sunglasses.
shorts as well. And so I'm wearing shorts as well. Now, I'll tell you what is going to be great in those moments of super cold is something that's going to keep you warm. You know what that is? That's called a PC. So, gentlemen, what are we doing here, and who's it for?
All right, so this is for Michael in Utah. He has custom configured a Horus off our website. So it's a Team Red build. So we've got an AMD CPU and a Radeon GPU. So starting out with our processor, we've got the AMD Ryzen 9 7900X. To cool that, we've got our CLX Quench 360 AIO in black. For our motherboard, we've got an MSI Mag X670E Tomahawk Wi-Fi. And for our memory, we have 2 sticks of Team Group 16GB DDR5 6000 speed. It's in that bottom right, kind of looks like batarang. So a total of 32 gigs of memory in the system. For our storage drive, we've got a single 2TB Western Digital Black. This is the SN850X, I believe. Very fast NVMe drive. For our case fans, we've got 8 of our Game DS Aeolus M2 fans. These ones look great. We do offer them in white as well. And for our video card, we've got a Radeon RX 7900 XT from XFX, this big Merc 310 box right here. For our case, we've got the NV5, and our power supply is an MSI 850 watt mag AB850 GL80 Plus Gold fully modular in black, which we also offer in white. There's a lot of words and numbers on that MSI model power supply.
I was going to say that is an elongated reference. So while they're getting so we're getting ready for the build and getting the case prepped, let's go ahead and talk about the one thing I know all of you all want to know. By the way, thank you for that tier 1 sub there, Pox6. And that is about the giveaway. To find out more about this amazing giveaway, you should type !giveaway in the chat. Now, I know a lot of you are wondering about codes, and here's how codes happen. You can find codes on this stream, on Twitch, on Tuesdays, on Thursdays, over on the TikTok stream. You can also possibly find them on the socials, and that is going to be YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, and that is all at CLX Gaming. You may even find one in our Discord. It's discord.gg/CLX Gaming. You can also find them on my streams. So, and that's just DJ Blue PDX on Twitch. So, when those codes come out, you want to make sure you grab them while you can. And, yeah, because this PC is going to be incredible. It's absolutely amazing, the giveaway PC is. Huge shout out and thank you to Intel. All right. Now, I believe we've done some Tomahawks before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
These are pretty interesting. What is a code? Good Lord. Is still code I've saved for other social platforms and drop it here? Or should I have seen... Oh, well, Nicole, that's an excellent question. I believe that's entirely up to you. What is code? I am job.
Do the people want a code? You better let us know, or else...
I feel like you were about to start rhyming, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Paul raps.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this, of course, is right. This is an MSI Mag.
Marky Mark, all of his
right, all of his pants dropping effects. All right, so the motherboard is an MSI Mag X670E Tomahawk Wi-Fi. As you can see, it's got a bunch of different heat sinks, beautiful back end on it, plus the plate for the CPU mount. And let's take a look at the connectivity, because this board's actually got some really great stuff on it. So obviously we've got our display port and our HDMI port. We're going to have two USB 3.2 Gen 2 10 gig type A's. Okay, those are going to be the red ones. Then you've got Oh yeah, and then we got USB 3.2 Gen 2 5 gigs that are Type A's. That's the threes. That's right. That's all the blues. Got a 2.5 gig LAN port over there. We've also got obviously our audio connectors, our BIOS button, and then we have a USB 3.2 Gen 2 10 gig Type C display port. Now that is something I don't believe we've talked about on the show much. And then of course we've on the other side of that is the USB 3.2 Gen 2 by 2, and that is 20 gigs of in and out. Plus you get your SPDIF. Your SPDIF. That's your IR. Plug it right in there. All right. Now, to give this thing a brain, we're going to have to put something on top of it. And that is going to be none other than an AMD Ryzen 9 7900X. I mean, this is pretty top tier, Paul. Tell me a little bit about this processor.
This is an awesome processor. It's a 12-core, 24-thread. It's got a base speed of 4.7, and it will boost all the way up to 5.6. So, top of the line, AMD here. Obviously, it's in the Ryzen 9 family. So, you know it is good.
Johnson Netanel asks, how likely am I going to win the giveaway? Well, if you get all your entries in, we've had a couple times had people win that had one entry. Like it is completely random chance. Jer 1990 says, question: when having a motherboard that supports RAM at 8200 MTs per second, but a CPU that only supports 5600, should I save money and buy the 5600 or buy the 8200? Good question.
Good question. So I would probably save the money and buy the 5600. Now, if you want to buy the faster memory, you can downclock it in BIOS to that 5600, so it functions fine. And then if you upgrade later on and can take advantage of the 8200, you can do that. But as far as like frame rate, what difference you're going to see in a game between 5600 and 8200, I don't think it's going to be that significant. So I'd probably just go with the 5600.
Nice. And don't forget, if you've got questions, please feel free to ask. That is what we're here for. We love answering questions, whether it's about the PC you have, the PC you want, questions about upgrades. This is all here. But the one thing I will say is we've also got a first code of the day.
Oh.
It's a CLXG code. That's Charlie Lima X-Ray Golf dash BNMT. That is Bravo, November, Michael, Tango. There we go. Oh, and he's putting it in all the chats. We know where it's at. Oh, yeah. Now, speaking of things that are at places, let's talk about what's going to be on top of our processor, and that is going to be a CLX Quench 360 AIO in black. Now, this is a liquid cooler, and what Zach is holding right there is the pump. So, Paul, for those who may not be aware of it, how do these work? Why are they important?
So this is what keeps our processor cool. This is our AIO, which stands for all-in-one. You can see it goes right on the processor like that. These come with typically 3 to 4 different sets of hardware. So Zach's installed our hardware for the AM5 socket, since that's what we will be using. Then we just tighten this down. It makes good connection to our processor. We've already got thermal paste on it. And that wire you see coming out of there, we're going to plug that into a CPU fan or an AIO pump header on the motherboard. So that's going to cause this pump to get power and start moving the fluid that's already inside there. So the fluid is going to come up one tube, go all down through all the channels of the radiator, get cooled off by some fans, then go back over the CPU, and just a continuous cycle like that keeps it all cool.
Nice. I like it. Now, there are a couple different ways to cool your system, and the AIO is one version of liquid cooling. What's the other?
So then you got air cooling that you can do, which is typically just like a block of metal with a fan on it. There's a lot of good aftermarket options if you don't want to go with an AIO. However, I would recommend going with an AIO. It's pretty much king right now as far as like the installation process being very simple, and it performs really well.
As opposed to like an open loop.
Yeah, if you want to go with an open loop, you want to go all out, we do offer those as well. So that's where we custom bend the tubes. You'll get all sorts of cool stuff in there, typically like a distro plate for some cases, sometimes a pump, a res combo. And then you can pick which color fluid and fittings you want. You can really go all out with those.
I got an email this morning, and it said, you're awesome, POC6.
POC6 is awesome.
Oh, what I just do. There we go. All right. So now, bam. So, Paul, what is an M.2? How is this different or better than like say a solid state or perhaps even a hard disk drive?
So an M.2 is a solid state drive. This is our storage for our PC. So our operating system is going to be on here. Anything you download, games, all that good stuff is going to be stored on this drive. Now the M.2 is the form factor here. You can see it's real small in Zach's hand. Looks almost like a small stick of gum. And it just goes directly onto the motherboard. Some motherboards have a screw that you mount it in. I believe this one is screwless and there's just a tab that locks it in. But the great thing about these is how fast they are. So you got your operating system on here, your computer from being completely off to at your Windows home screen or whatever OS you have on there. It's just going to take a matter of seconds. It's going to boot up really quick. If you have any games on here, the load times are going to be cut down significantly. They're just all around a great drive. Now you can pair it with a physical or a mechanical hard disk drive for a bunch of extra storage for cheaply.
We got a question coming in from the YouTube side. Johnson asks, I have a question about the PCIe. Is the PCIe Gen 5 really way better than Gen 4, or is it still okay to use Gen 4?
It's definitely still okay to use Gen 4. Now Gen 5 is going to be better speeds. It's pretty much always going to be an improvement on read and write speeds and whatnot, but Gen 4 is still blazing fast. Even the NVMe drives that are Gen 3 are still way fast. So
Yeah. All right. And my name is CP. What's going on? Welcome. Well, we're building PCs here. And then, of course, we've also got our PC giveaway going on. If you wanted to find out more, type exclamation giveaway in the chat. What do I do with it? Well, you want to go to the link and then just follow the instructions, and it'll put it right in there for you. And don't forget, we've got codes coming in here today. On Thursday, the show is live on TikTok, and you want to tune into that because there's going to be codes there as well. You can also find codes on my stream, and that is going to be happening today as well. Now, things that are happening today. Let's talk about it. For starters, we're putting fans under a radiator. So there is a theory. There's a protocol for best case scenarios with installing the fans. Paul, what is that?
So the most important way to install your fans on a radiator is the way that you see it being done here. We've got air coming into our fans on this side, pushing air through the radiator. So that's the push method. If we had these on the other way, that would be pulling air through, which still works, but it doesn't provide as good of airflow as it does pushing air through. So you always want to go with that push method. Now you can put fans on both sides and a push-pull, and that is even more effective than just the push method. But that's a little bit more rare because you got to have more fans and more room in your case to fit all that.
Nice. All right. So yeah, another question coming in was, what is the computer case that you're using? And this is a CLX Horus NV5 in black. These are great cases. Great cases.
This case has been really popular. The one we're building today is in black, but we do also offer in white.
And a plethora of printed cases.
Choppa on the green side says, how many codes per stream do you all usually give? You know what? It depends on it depends on how they're feeling, and that's them. I usually do one per stream on mine, but you'll get probably a lot more here. Okay, now we're gonna put that away and bring ourselves into the case. So the NV5 is a really unique case because of the way that it sits. As you can see, there's those black rubber grommets right there in the middle. Those are going to be for passing the cables through into the rear space. This is what we kind of call like a 3/4 or a 4/5 case because it doesn't sit all the way on the bottom. Why is that?
So this case is designed that way so that we've got a little bit extra room for extra components in the back of the case. So there's not a ton of room in the back of this one, but there's still enough for extra 3.5 inch or 2.5 inch drives. There's a little door that swings out that you can mount them on there, and then it's got good area for cable management as well.
Okay. Now, as putting these in, you can see what Zach is doing. He's going to attach the motherboard to, not to the case, but to the standoffs that are installed in the case. Paul?
So our motherboard sits on these standoffs, and what those do is just provide a good connection for the motherboard, but so that it's not touching the back of the case. You can see the gap between the actual chassis and the motherboard itself pretty well in this shot right here. We don't want the motherboard touching the frame of the chassis because that can cause shorting out and a whole bunch of issues. So you definitely want to make sure you've got those standoffs in the right locations, and that's where Zach's putting these screws into that you're seeing him do right now.
Oh,
Nice.
man, I wish the M3s were available in white. You know how sick that would be?
Yeah, Crossworth. They're not available in white right now, but that could change in the future. We just have to see if we can get that done. But as of right now, they are not. But the M2s are in white.
Okay. Now we're getting this put in here. So when it comes to installing your radiator, what are some really good key practices that you want to make sure that you're being mindful of?
And you can take this if you want, Zach. The first thing I would point out would be just running those wires through the case before mounting the radiator, like you see Zach doing right there. That saves him a lot of time from having to route those wires after the AIO is installed.
Okay. Now, do you want to install it? Can you install it anywhere, or does it have to be in a specific design?
So you can install it anywhere. Now, it is recommended, and we recommend this as well, to have at least the top of your radiator where these tubes go into the radiator right here above your pump. Now, we've got this case kind of upside down, so when we have this right side up, this will be above our pump. The whole radiator itself is going to be above, but if we had it in the side of this chassis, still the top of these hoses would be above the pump. And the reason we want that is there's always going to be a little bit amount of air inside these AIOs that you just can't get out, and we don't want that air going to the pump. Now, if you've got your AIO installed upside down in your case or in the bottom of your case right now, it's not something to super worry about. It's not like it's going to break your PC overnight, but over enough time, that air can cause damage.
The only thing that has to be torqued down is a Threadripper processor. There is no other like torque spec for building computers. That being said, you can over Hulk stuff, so there's no need to Hulk smash any of these screws or zip ties or any just building anything on a computer.
Yeah, there's nothing that's like vibrating on here or anything like that that's going to cause those screws to really get loose. So just get them a little bit past hand tight is usually good enough. If you're using like an electric drill, I don't go above 5 on mine.
There we go. We got a question coming in from Choppa 2003 over on the green side. Says, what's the hardest part about building a PC?
Asking for a friend. Having enough light to work with.
Don't build it in the dark.
Well, I mean, it's not like we haven't done that before.
Yeah, Chris Long, if you win the giveaway and you would like to come here, by all means, you can.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. Question coming in from Cosworth. What's up, Cos? How you doing? It says, curious questions. Are the M3 fans available in white? And have you ever built a machine with them?
No, they are not available in white right now, but maybe in the future. I'm not holding any secrets or anything, but that's how our M2 fans were. We got them in black like how these were, and then eventually we were able to get them in white. So maybe in the future.
There we go. And we answered that one. They call Zach the Cable King. Yes, they do. Cosmos asks, DJ, have you heard MS Notepad is going freemium because they are adding AI features? Because why wouldn't they?
AI is the future.
Yeah, they said the same thing about Skynet.
There were all those movies about it. Wasn't Bruce Willis in one of them?
I mean, there have been a bunch of different things. Oh yeah, well there was that one too. What are the builders' favorite motherboards to work with? Asks Jar 1990.
I am legend. Man, what's my favorite motherboard to work on? Dude, I don't know. That's a hard one. My favorite one is any motherboard that has 2 Type-C headers, 2 Type-3 headers, at least 3 RGB headers, and I'm an airman, so at least also like 4 fan headers too. Any of those style of motherboards I thoroughly enjoy. I just like lots of headers, whether you need them or not.
Yeah, it's always nice to have the extra headers. If I had to pick a brand, I would probably go with ASRock, honestly.
You like that extra standoff.
I like the BIOS for them when I'm getting them on. It's simple, it looks old, and I'm familiar with it. Some of these newer BIOSes, I like getting around in some of the Asus and Gigabytes. I'm sure ASRock has it as well, but somewhere like you can even use a mouse. Just like super weird to me. I like being able to pretend like I'm hacking into the Matrix and.
Right.
Okay. Now, one thing that you'll notice in this shot right here is there is this raised little area that you can see right there underneath Zach's hand, and that is called our power supply shroud. What does that do, Paul?
So it's just a separate compartment for our power supply. It's going to sit inside of here. It's going to hide the cables nicely, and then it also seals off that area from the rest of the case. So our power supply is going to get fresh air in from down here and shoot it out the back. So none of that heat gets into the main part of the case. It also has a good RGB element. In this case, is a RGB line that goes down it.
It's really cool, actually.
That's good.
El Gordo Jevi asks, what do I need to overclock my CPU?
Well, you don't really need anything to overclock your CPU. You can do that in your BIOS and you can send more voltage to it, but just be careful. If you're not familiar with it, watch some YouTube videos and just baby step up that voltage to your processor. Now, obviously, your processor has to be capable of being overclocked, but yeah.
So, I have a question then. Because my motherboard came with, it has the option for AI overclocking on the CPU. Is that something that I should consider turning on, or is that just an unnecessary element?
For the most part, I believe it's going to be unnecessary. Now, at the end of life of your machine, then I would turn it on just to get some more life out of that processor. But it's there if you want to use it. If you're noticing that you need to use your CPU more for a certain task and you want to turn it on, go ahead.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Hey.
Now, one of the cool things that we can't see right now, but we'll see it in just a second, is what Zach is using. It's okay. That's a great thing. Fantex did something amazing with their cases, and they include Velcro ties. Now, these help with, well, what do they help with? Zach?
So I like using zip ties to wrap my cables and get them all set up. What we have right here is all of the case cables, and they look very pretty, because why else would they not want to look pretty? And then from here we can add other cables like our fan cables and get those all set up, or we can plug our power supply in and get our power supply all set up. We've got so many options.
Nice. Now, as for ports on this machine, what kind of ports do we have built into the case itself?
So we've got two USB 3.0s on the top and then a Type-C as well. There's also a headset and mic port up there along with our power reset button, and there's some fan lighting and stuff like that. All right, y'all.
There we go. Nice. And Zach is currently getting all the wiring put together. What's the next step, Zach?
We can do whatever, power supply or fans.
Power supply or fans?
Yeah.
I'll give you some fans, then I'll start getting the power supply out. That sounds
like a plan.
Good. I'm drinking Swedish fish today.
Yeah? I can't smell it, so
Drinking
I must
what?
be all...
Yeah.
Usually I can smell them.
Swedish fish flavor.
Yeah.
I've cut down my intake of these.
Well, yeah, it's because you went to a place that didn't have them for a week.
That's true.
I heard that first crack on Monday when you got back. I'm like, I bet he's been waiting for that.
Yeah.
Been waiting for that one.
I was sending them to Nicole because Nicole's down with the ghosts. I was like, yeah, I haven't stopped drinking. I've had like one a day for like the last month. She's like, you might want to get your liver checked. And I'm like, shit. I'm going to go down to 2 a week. I had those liver issues earlier on in the year. That are solved and it's all back to good, but
never again.
We don't need to go down that path again. So I'll do one Tuesday and Thursday, and then if I'm feeling frisky on a weekend, I might go get one.
Okay. Now we're going to add fans to this. We've got one that's going to come in the bottom that's going to be bringing air up from underneath the case. We've got another 3 that are going to be going on the back of the case, and they're going to be blowing air in as well. So we'll have 4 in and 4 out, but we'll still have a slightly positive pressure because of the fact that we're blowing through the radiator.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Look at all these cables.
All right, so up next, we've got our power supply. Let's take a look at that. That is going to be an MSI Mag 850 watt, 80 plus gold modular power supply. Now, here's a question for you, because it says modular. What different types of power supplies are there?
So you got fully modular like this one right here, where all of our ports right here, where so our cables can go in. Then you've got non-modular, where all these cables are pre-soldered in. Then you've got semi-modular, which is a mix of both worlds. We like using fully modular here. It's just a lot easier to build with, gives you an overall cleaner look. And then the extra cables that we don't use will be in the accessory bag. That way, if you ever upgrade, you got them there if you need them. Oh yeah. So now I will start sorting through these cables, figure out what we need. I should probably get this video card out. It's probably going to be 2/8 is what I'm assuming, but we'll find out.
Good afternoon, G Code. What's going on? Nicole mentions, I'm glad I'm caffeine sensitive. It takes like 3 days to finish one energy drink. I had to finally just go completely caffeine free. And Temperance is in the house. You like your, yeah, Temperance is like, I will drink 8 cups of coffee just to feel my heart race.
Dude, when I was doing it every day, I was like, oh, maybe I need a second one today. And it's like, nope.
For me, it's time of day. Like, I need to come in, build a computer, and then go get coffee. If I come in and immediately get a cup of coffee, it's like, ooh, this is a rough day. Because I only drink the mushroom coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I've heard that's actually good. Tank Raid Games is here over on the YouTube side. It says, do people pay more to get to be put on your YouTube channel like this? And the answer is no.
Heck no, baby.
Nope. It's all,
Jose.
it is rather random. I mean, if you order it and you request it, there's a chance, but yeah. Jonathan asks, DJ Johnson asks, which type of cooler does actually perform better between the air cooler and an AIO liquid cooler?
Most of the time, it's going to be the AIO. Now, there are some air coolers that can perform as well as like a 120 or 240 AIO, but once you get in a 360 like this size right here where 3 fans go on it, it's going to be pretty hard for an air cooler to be able to beat that.
There we go. Coming back over here, we've got a good question coming in off the green side, and that is, it says, it's Luiso. Yes, I'm just calling you Luis. It says, hello guys, one question, how to deal with the noise and fans? Is it better to replace them or fix them? Good question.
It's usually easier to just replace them, but you may have just a fan setting where it's cranked up all the way to high, and that's why it's loud, so you can't just turn that down.
And speaking of those things you can't turn down, here we go. We've got something that's called code. It's going to be a core code. It is LTRA. That is CORE. That is Charlie Oscar Romeo Echo Dash Lima Tango Romeo Alpha. That is going to be your code. Worth, I believe those are worth 100 entries. Let me see there. Yes, the cores are worth 100 extra entries into the giveaway. And Traxius over here on the red side says, how many computers are you guys doing a day or week or month time frame?
I don't think I can. I don't know exactly, but even if I did, I don't think I can really give that information out. It does fluctuate a lot, obviously, based on the holidays is when we really ramp up and start doing a lot. And then it kind of tapers down, and then usually tax return time is most thing. We get a bump, and back to school, there's usually a bump. So it fluctuates.
We can build, about 20 a day.
Mm-hmm. Easy.
Captain Marvel asks.
4.
Yeah.
Those are the days that you're like, oh man, I wish I could build faster.
Captain Marvel asks.
These systems.
Captain Marvel asks, why can't the parts box be sent with the PC when you order one? Are they not?
Usually not. No. But if that is something you want, you can request that. Some of our parts we get bulk, so like our memory you probably saw at the beginning of this, there isn't any like packaging for it because we get it in a big tray format. Sometimes that's our processors as well, and even motherboards and video cards. It just depends on the model and where we get it from our suppliers, if we even get a box or not.
Nice. I Race It says, finally got my PC built. I've only had to bring it back to Geek Squad for drivers updates, but since then it's been running so nice. Nice. Good.
Nice.
Shooter McGavin. What's up, Shooter? How you been? I had recently...
I know what he eats for breakfast.
Shooter says, I had recently ordered a PC from you guys. Would love to see it being set up right now. Oh.
If it hasn't been built yet, you can reach out to me or Zach or Ivory is probably going to be the best person on our Discord, discord.gg/clxgaming, or you can call in or come and chat on our website, clxgaming.com, and we can try to squeeze it into a show. Just depends on what we've got planned for the show, and we don't want to slow your order down, like make you wait longer than you need to for your PC. So. But definitely, if it hasn't been built yet, reach out to us. We can see what we can do. No promises or anything, but we always like to build the customer's PC, especially if they're here in chat. It's just always more fun for us, and I'm sure them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Tankred Games over on the Twitch side says, I have an i7 6700 CPU right now, and it's starting to show its age, and I plan on upgrading soon, but is there a better CPU I can go to using the LGA 1151 for now?
That's a good question. So the 6700 is a great processor. The 6700K is really awesome. So if you can get one of those for cheap, you should be able to just slap that right in, and you can overclock those a lot. Like I think a guy here had his overclock to 5, and it was been running at that for a long time. So yeah.
And so Joe Worth asks a good question, says, I haven't got a PC. I have $600 for a build. Is that enough? I would definitely recommend taking a look at our ready to ship or RTS listing on the website. That's clxgaming.com. You'll be able to see it right there on the left-hand side. And they'll give you a good idea of what the budget's going to look like for that.
Yeah, we do have, I think our base is 650 on the RTS. You can look there and check me, but that'll get you in gaming most things at 1080. And then it does give you a PC that you can upgrade later on. If you want to save up more money, get a better video card, or upgrade some other thing in there, then you can do that as well.
Yes. Now, behind my face is Paul putting together all of the what?
I am getting all the peels off of our video card here.
Gotcha. And there's always a plethora of them.
Fans, yeah.
Do be careful when you're installing your graphics card, because you really, really, really need to. You don't want that plastic on there, because that's gonna heat up and smell horrible.
These little ones on the fans can be a pain. Sometimes they come off real easy. Sometimes they do not.
iRace, it says, any idea how to fix some bent pins on a motherboard? When I was getting my parts, my first motherboard had 3 bent pins on the back, so I just have this thing sitting here. Couldn't fix it and sell it off.
Yeah, so I have fixed pins on a motherboard before. I've got a couple in my office right now, but it's very hard to fix the pins on a motherboard. Sometimes they're just way past the point of being able to be fixed. Now on a processor, I can fix bent pins on an AMD processor all day. I've become like the master at that. But motherboard, it's really hard because the angle those pins are at, typically they're kind of at a 45-degree angle with like a hook at the end, and so yeah, that can be pretty tough. It can be done, but I use just like my main tool is honestly just a razor blade like this and like a magnifying glass, and I'll get in there. I'll zoom in on the camera on my phone to try to see. But yeah,
what you want to do is you want to go to your local hardware store and you want to buy yourself a Gerber dime. The Gerber dime has a blade on it. This blade, where are we at? This is my So we've got our sharp angle to get into small areas, and then this width of the spine of the backside is how far apart the pins are supposed to be. So I just use this and just slowly just kind of reline things up again, just like that, and yep. There you go.
Good stuff.
Interesting.
But yes, magnifying glass and lots of light and very steady hand, and definitely step away if you get frustrated and come back to it after about 15-minute break, because it just takes one little slip to mess it up to where it can't be fixed.
Yeah, where it's just boom.
Yeah. Moderate Hovian, welcome back, is over on the red side. Says, question from a previous build. What was the GPU that they featured that had a magnetic motor and removable fans? Ooh, that was a gorgeous card.
The SFX 79 XTX, and that was the, what was that?
Was it like a wolf on the box or something? What was the model on that?
The Hellhound's the other
yeah, it wasn't the Hellhound. We'll think about it.
Mercury.
There it is.
I knew it was a planet.
There's the Mercury. Jumping over here
I wish
to
that they,
the
had little mercury balls in there, like a thermostat,
Yeah.
like don't break this glass, or else.
let's see, Golden Ale says, are AMD graphics cards bad sellers? I'm going to say probably not.
Yeah, they're definitely not bad sellers here. That is for sure.
Now, excuse me, as you can see, we've got all of our fans installed, and now we're working on our cabling. When you're doing this, what's a great way to get your fans locked in so that it's easy for maintenance?
Yes. So, depending on what type of fan system we are operating with, we are operating with GameDS fans, so they utilize a very nice, very classic hub. And so with this, what we want to do is we just want to plug everything in a nice sequential order. But like if we were operating with Lindley fans or thermal take fans or Corsair fans, those guys do require hubs too, so we want to make sure everything gets plugged in. But those guys also do require software as well. So if we are building those at home and boot everything up and fans aren't spinning or not glowing, don't get scared, just download the software and get it uploaded too. And then you'll be good to go. But with these guys here, these guys are just plug and play. So we've got a very fancy remote to control everything with if we wanted to pick colors, and it's all synced it up to the motherboard too, so we can customize with the MSI software as well.
I just realized I don't know where my remote is. It's somewhere here. It's somewhere here. Necrorizo, yo, what up? CLX and DJ Blue, hello. How are you? Temperance has a coffee company named after her. Nice. That sounds fun.
Oh.
Okay. Now, as we get these all in here, one of the cool things about this, in my opinion, is the cabling, because the power supply comes with it. It's very solid. It's not like it's just all over the place. They look good. They look clean, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Now, if you've got certain modular power supplies can be actually modified with cable mods. So in that case, what are some reasons that cable mods might be used?
So you can get cable mods or aftermarket cables for your power supply. Now those are an aesthetic thing. You can get them in all sorts of different colors. So if you got like a pink and white themed build, you get pink and white themed cables, which looks really nice. But they've got all the colors under the sun. You get a rainbow of them. Leon Lee has some light up cables with RGB on them. So you can get RGB cables if you really want those. But the big thing to pay attention to if you are purchasing those is that they do match the model of power supply that you are plugging them into. They are not universal. So if you've got an EVGA G5 power supply, you want to make sure they are for that. If you've got this MSI 850 here, you want to make sure they're for this exact model, and not just brand too, because there can be some variation in the pinning even within the same brand across the different models.
Leo asked a good question. How to remove static electricity from your PC?
Well, there shouldn't be like static in your PC. It will just kind of work its Like, there's no static going on in there. Now, if you're going to go touch your PC, you can just touch like the frame of your chassis. That will get all the static off of you before you touch something inside there. Use a balloon, yeah.
No, I was like, I don't know that that's the answer.
So what you're going to do is go to the party store.
Now, since you did bring up a good point, a good talking point there, Luis, and that is about static electricity. Now, there's a lot of, about electrostatic discharge with a PC, but it's fairly easy to take care of and to manage. So, what are some good, some good practices or rules when it comes to where you're putting your PC, how you handle your PC, Paul?
Yeah, if you're building at home, just don't have your socks on and rubbing them on the carpet and then go in and touch all your components. There's anti-static wrist straps you can use that have like an alligator clip that you can clip to a grounding thing. We use an anti-static mat. That's what we're building on right now. This protects you from pretty much everything. This is what we use here a lot at all of our build stations is anti-static mats, because then you just don't got to worry about it. But you don't necessarily need that. You can build it on a hard surface in your kitchen or something like that. If I'm at home, that's where I do it, and I don't worry about getting myself like grounded or anything. But if you do want to take the extra precaution, it's there. And like I said before, just touch the frame of your chassis before you go touch anything inside of there.
Yeah. Yup. All right, now we're getting this mounted in here. And once again, this is great because it's got its own little separate area, so it's not going to be heating up the entire machine. Let's see here. Oh, yes, everybody's just reinforcing everything that we just said. Perfect.
Yeah. The people know.
Yep. And did we cover where we put the computer? Yes.
I'm not sure, but usually
okay.
On a hard surface is preferred. Now, if you've got carpet and it's sitting on there, you want to keep that area between the floor and the bottom of your chassis, this area right here. You want to keep that as clear as possible so that your case can breathe and get all that hot air out of there.
Also, when you're there, I would definitely say put it on to something that's not going to transmit any type of static ESD. So I have mine on little square sample tiles, ceramic sample tiles, on each end on the one that's on the floor, so that there's definitely no way that it's going to be negatively affected. Okay. Getting the final cables wrapped up and locked up. I will say it's really good that they chose a modular power supply for this case, just because it saves so much on cable management, because you're not having to shove a whole bunch of cables you're just not using into it and stuff it in the bottom. Okay. Zach and his zip ties. That should be his nickname. Zip tie Zach.
Oh yeah.
Looking good.
ZTZ.
That kind of sounds scary.
Yeah,
Zip tie Zach.
They call me Zip Tie Zach.
Here he comes.
I zip them all up.
Zip tie Zach sounds like a really. It's if you bought a villain for a Batman show off of Temu. Oh goodness. Naruto Zumaki. Say, what's the giveaway? Well, we've given out 2 so far, to my knowledge, and they'll be just scroll up in the chat. They should be up there. We've got another one. Oh, there it is. Yep, Ordy is helping with that. Well done, Ordy. Appreciate it. Good morning, by the way. And Cosworth, Warhammer. Yes.
Warhammer.
I have really fallen in love with Warhammer 40K's Dark Tide.
That's a good one.
That game is awesome.
Yeah.
It is. I am getting getting better at it, but yeah, that's an addiction. That's an addiction right there. That's lovely.
Man,
I love that game.
A small army of Warhammer figurines, and I have them in a box with like foam on the shelf in my basement. And my kids were building a fort, and she has a giant Pikachu Squishmallow that's like bigger than her. She just run down the stairs at it and knock that box off. and they just opened up, and I saw some weapons and heads.
Yeah,
I'm
just
like,
everywhere.
Oh God!
These are not toys.
No, this is not what this is
You gotta
for.
tell your natural disasters, calm down.
Yeah, like you can't be doing that. It's like, dude.
What? Kirschlung says, "What I miss? I had to pull over some a-hole truck driver." Wait, are you like?
He's a super trooper.
State
Citizen's arrest.
State patrolman.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
that is awesome.
Yeah, sometimes truck drivers are nice, sometimes they're terrible. I will say, man, when I was on my scooter back before the accident, there was an off ramp that fed into an intersection that came from a side street, right? And I came from the side street here in LEO. Nice.
Oh yeah.
GG, and thank you for your service, my friend.
You.
And this semi came in, it Jake braked. I don't know if everyone knows what that is, but the sound is terrifying, and it looks like it's just going to hit you, and I almost peed myself. But I'll tell you what's even more awesome, and that is our graphics card. And this is going to be a Radeon RX 7900 XT. This is 20 gigs of RAM in it. So, Paul, tell me a little bit about this.
So it is on the high end of the Radeon side. We've got two 8-pin powers that you can see here. That's what I like. No, you're good, Zach. That's what I like with this Radeon card. It's got standard power connections, which is always nice. Now this is a longer card, triple fan model, so Zach's getting the mounting screws in, but we will be using an anti-sag bracket on the other side of that card as well. The NV5 comes with a really solid one that we will put in. Zach will show you how that goes in. And this just gives us extra support on the other side of the card. Because with these larger video cards, we have noticed damage over time if you don't have that anti-sag bracket. It can damage the card, it can damage the motherboard.
You're doing dots outside of gaming, guys. That's not good.
True.
Now, sometimes what are the different places that you could find your anti-sag bracket?
So a lot of cases now are coming with them. Some video cards come with them as well. We recommend using anything that mounts directly to the frame of the chassis. That just gives you better support than some of the ones that come with the video cards. Some of the ones come with the video cards do mount directly to the chassis, but a lot of them don't.
There we go. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Go ahead and pop those in there. When you're putting your 8-pin in, what's a good thing to keep your eye on?
So we always say 8-pin. There are two different types of 8 pins inside every computer system. There is a 6x2, that is your VGA 8-pin, and then there are 4x4s, and those are your CPU 8 pins. So just because it is an 8-pin cable like Paul was talking about earlier, make sure that whatever cable you're plugging in is the proper cable. So I'm just making sure that my little 2 is stacked up on my 6 and just plug that in and make it look pretty.
Yeah, those little connectors always confused me. Like, why were they separated in the first place? Because there's multiple uses for them. So if you had just a 6-pin, you wouldn't have to use that other 2.
Yeah, you just bend that other 2 back, tuck it away. This
Nice.
is our anti-sag bracket right here.
Yep. This attaches directly to the case, and then it can be slide adjusted. Okay, getting our final screw in here. I do love the lighting on these cards, these XFXs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they look good.
They do.
They look real good. Okay, putting the final touches on on the baby here.
Yeah, we're wrapping this one up. Pretty soon we're just going to be putting side panels on and we'll be good to go.
Let Zach verify that he's got his stuff where it needs to be.
Last one.
Final little bit of cable management. We've also got something that's awesome, and it's mega awesome because it's Mega Cure. like the band. That is going to be a code worth 200 extra entries. That is Mega MEGA. That's Michael Echo Golf Alpha Dash Cure Charlie Uniform Romeo Echo. So Mega and Cure. There we go. That is amazing. So now you guys have got 350 extra entries into this giveaway right now. And then we've got our little door, the flap that goes over the top. And I believe we are good to go and start getting ready. So while you guys put the panels on, I'm going to take all of you watching on an adventure. We're going to head over to clxgaming.com so I can show you how to get your hands on one of these amazing PCs. At clxgaming.com, we try and make it as easy as possible for you to get the best machine that's going to not just meet your needs, but last for a long time. We carry everything from small builds, ITX, to large RAWs like this one back here. We've got Intel, AMD, Radeon, NVIDIA, and there's more. You can select pretty much anything in here. If you want to upgrade or overclock your CPU or your GPU, we can do either or both for you. We can even upgrade your thermal paste if you want. You want an extra hard drive? We got that. And the best part about it is you can't screw up the build. See how that little button turned green? That was green, it turned yellow? Well, that's because we have a conflict. So in this example, we have a power supply that's not heavy enough, it's not big enough for the graphics card that's chosen. So the system's going to say, hey, look, here we go. You can either choose one of these graphics cards to work with this PSU that you selected, or you need one of these power supplies to work with the graphics card you selected. Once you solve the problem, it goes back to green and you can continue on your merry way. Whether you're needing extra USB ports, more RAM, we've got it all. We've got streaming gear even. And that's going to be over in our accessories area. I love the accessories page. It's so much fun. So for starters, right off the bat, you want to pick yourself up some CLX swag, like the shirt I'm wearing, or the hoodies that we've got. I love my purple hoodie. It is a windbreaker. I should use the proper terminology. Our windbreaker. But we have literally everything you could need for a system. You want a keyboard? We got mice. We got controllers, headsets. We've got mics, including beacon mics and beacon mix creates for content creators. We have capture cards from none other than Elgato. You need speakers, monitors. We got it. You want a chair or a router? We got it. And it's all right here. So, as much as I feel like that is an awesome thing, sometimes people get a little overwhelmed. So that's why we have our RTS section, which is just ready to ship. Now, the ready to ship comes in 4 different flavors. You can get it you can take a look at entry level, mid-range, high performance, or ultra high performance. And that gives you an idea then they're pre-built and tested right there in the warehouse in Wichita, Kansas, across the way from where the boys are in the studio. And this will give you a good idea as to, what it's going to cost, how it's going to work out. If you want to do payments, it's right there. You can apply through a firm, and it's all for you. So, with that being said, for all of your future gaming and PC needs, head on over to clxgaming.com and see how we can prepare you for the future. All right. Dun dun dun.
Moment.
Okay, we've got it ready. And here we go. Nice. The lighting in this case is absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
and I'm loving.
Awesome.
Yeah, you got the little SFX there. I don't know why I thought that the rim of the SFX lit up. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's like a silverish color.
Okay, there it is. All right, so let's go over once again what went into this machine for Michael in Utah. This is a CLX Horus NV5 in black with an AMD Ryzen 9 7900X. It's being cooled by a CLX Quench 360 AIO. It's all mounted on an MSI Mag X670E Tomahawk motherboard with 32 gigs of DDR5 6000 from Team Group. The GPU is a Radeon RX 7900 XT. You got a 2 terabyte Western Digital SN850X NVMe M.2, 8 AMD Aeolus M2 black fans with RGBs, and of course our MSI Mag 850 watt 80 plus gold modular power supply. Now, I mentioned something when I was talking about the website. Paul, maybe you can provide some clarity. I said that they've all been built and tested. What does that mean? Where is this going to go, and what's going to happen to this machine now that it's put together?
So this machine's going to go to our testing and integration department next. So the first thing we do in there is get into the BIOS of the machine. We'll make sure our RAM speed is set correctly. All of our storage devices are showing up, and sometimes tweak around with some other settings in there depending on the build. If you picked overclocking, that's where we would overclock it. Then after the BIOS has been set, we load the machine. So the operating system, if you picked any games on our website, that's where we would load those. But that's it as far as loading stuff. We don't put any bloatware on these machines. You're not going to get any different anti-malware, antivirus softwares that you don't want. Just a fresh install of the OS, and that's it. And then once everything's been loaded, we put the system through a 12-hour burn-in or a stress test, and that makes sure everything's stable when you get it at home.
Yes. And one final question coming in from the YouTube side, from outside the box, asks, where would you plug in the Fantex NV5 DRGB kit here?
So that's going to depend on the motherboard, right, Zach? The extra RGB kit, if it's a 3-pin or a 4-pin.
If it's the NV5 like light kit that goes around the frame of the case, there's a cable in the case that has the same header that plugs into, and that's what you'd plug it into.
Oh, it's kind of like 3-pin one with the tab, and then it's kind of the wings on the other side.
And then it'll all sync with the case and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, no McAfee, that's right.
Right, absolutely.
But I like my
Definitely
McCoffee.
Not. All right.
It's only $1.59 for any size iced drink.
Your McCoffee.
Good.
All right, and so in just a few moments, we're going to take a break. When we come back, you're going to get to spend the afternoon with none other than Zach as he continues building some amazing machines. Now, before I go, once again, if you want to find out more about CLX Gaming and how you can get involved, as well as take a look for some codes, you can do so on our shows that happen every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday, we're live here on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube at CLX Gaming. And then, of course, CLX Gaming over on TikTok on Thursdays. You can also follow our socials. That obviously is YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at CLX Gaming, where you may find a code out there as well. Plus, if you want to get into a Discord with a bunch of like-minded PC enthusiasts, geeks, and nerds, head over to discord.gg/CLX Gaming. And who knows, you may even find a code in there. You can also find codes on my stream, and today I'm going to be doing some Warhammer 40K Darktide, and I'll be having a code over there as well. So, with that being said, stick around. On behalf of Jason and Kyle and Paul and Zach, I'm DJ Blue PDX. Don't go away. We've got more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
Bye, everybody.